Philippians 4:6-8. Be careful for nothing, but in everything, by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your request be made known unto God. And the peace of God, which passeth all understanding, shall keep your hearts and minds through Christ Jesus. Finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of good report, if there be any virtue, and if there be any praise, think on these things. Verse 6. There's a first part to it and a second part to it. The first instruction to us is be careful for nothing, be anxious for nothing, be afraid for nothing, worry over nothing. Then it goes further to say, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your request be made known unto God. Now, two things popped out at me from this verse. After it says be careful for nothing, it now tells us what we should do. It said instead of being afraid or worrying or being anxious, in every situation, every circumstance, by prayer and by supplication with thanksgiving, let our request be made known unto God. And I've grown to realize that a life of gratitude brings tons and tons of things our way. Obeying the later part and picking out just little parts of it to do might not bring the result that we need. From the part of the world where I am from, we're prayer warriors. We can pray a lot. But most of the times, we are praying fearfully. We are praying with a lot of anxiety. We are praying from a place of fear instead of from a place of thanksgiving. Now, if we are really going to be praying and supplicating and giving thanks, you realize that it will take care of the fear and the worry. Because this is the same thing that is being explained when they say, in every situation, find the positive in it. I'm sure many of us have heard of that before. That's when we begin to express a life of gratitude. When in every situation that happens, no one says you should deny the situation that has happened. No one says you should pretend as if it did not happen. No. But even in that situation, be able to discover what's the positive in this. There is something good about this. In some situations, it might be very difficult, especially when it has to do with the loss of life. It'll be difficult to connect the dots immediately to find out, what's good about this right now? I mean, what is good about this? But down the line, in time to come, you realize that, if this didn't happen, really, many of all these other things that has happened might have not happened. So right now, even if you are in it right now, it might be difficult for you to be able to find that positive, but be grateful nonetheless. In your grieving state, in your mourning stage, when it's so hard and difficult, just express gratitude. You just be grateful for the things that you can see, that you can be grateful for, even if for nothing else, at least for life. What that does for us is that it changes our perspective. We are afraid, we are worried, we are anxious because we are focusing on the wrong things. We are afraid and anxious and worrying because we keep looking at things that are not working. We're afraid of what the future holds. We're afraid that the past is going to come haunt us. We're anxious from things that have happened before, that you see a pattern that is about to repeat itself again. We are worried because the reality right now is telling a different story from what we want or desire. But find the good in it. Be grateful nonetheless and sincerely mean it. Just be grateful till it begins to mean something to you. Because at the beginning, there are really some times that it is difficult. But at the beginning of it, when you begin to feel grateful, When you begin to express gratitude, you realize that it gets to a point where it becomes very serious, as in it will begin to have meaning to you. What is happening at that point is that your perspective is changing. And the moment your perspective begins to change, you realize that your prayer now has enough potency to create. Because when we are careful for things, meaning when you are anxious, when you are worrying, when you are afraid, and you are making those prayers, your mind is not focused on what you want. You are focusing and yet carrying the burden that God has said, cast it all on me. He said, cast your cares upon me, for I care for you. But no, when we're anxious, worrying, afraid, we've decided that we're better carriers of those problems. So even though we are praying about it, you realize that you are yet carrying them. So what prayer should do for us is saying, I cast it all on you, Father, because I know you love me and I know you are capable of bringing this to pass. So we leave it all at his feet and we move happy, rejoicing that it is done. That's what the heart of gratitude does. That's what thanksgiving will do for us. So if we can genuinely pray from a place of gratitude, it takes care of being anxious, worrying and afraid, and really praying and supplicating for the things that we do really desire.